Here's a detailed comparison of the power sector in the USA and the UK. Installed capacity. The USA has 1,144 gigawatts, while the UK has 79 gigawatts. Power generation mix. The way we generate electricity is crucial for our modern society, and it varies significantly across different regions. In the USA, natural gas accounts for 35% of the total power generation. This is largely due to the country's abundant natural gas reserves and the relatively low cost of extraction and production. Coal, despite its environmental impact, still contributes 23%. This is a significant drop from previous decades, reflecting a shift towards cleaner energy sources. Nuclear power, known for its low greenhouse gas emissions, makes up 20% of the energy mix. Renewables, which include wind, solar, hydro, and geothermal energy, make up 15% of the USA's power generation. This sector is growing rapidly as technology advances and costs decrease. Wind and solar are particularly noteworthy, with large-scale projects being developed across the country. The renewable energy mix is a dynamic and evolving part of the power generation landscape, reflecting both technological advancements and policy shifts aimed at reducing carbon emissions. Over in the UK, the power generation mix looks somewhat different. Natural gas is the dominant source, accounting for 40% of the electricity produced. The UK has invested heavily in natural gas infrastructure, making it a reliable and flexible energy source. Renewables are a significant part of the UK's energy strategy, contributing 33% to the power generation mix. This includes wind, solar, and biomass energy. The UK is a global leader in offshore wind energy, with numerous wind farms located in the North Sea. Wind energy is particularly prominent, but solar and biomass also play crucial roles. Biomass, which involves using organic materials to produce energy, is a key component of the UK's renewable strategy. Nuclear power contributes 17% to the UK's energy mix. The country has a long history with nuclear energy and continues to invest in new technologies and facilities to ensure a stable and low-carbon energy supply. Coal, once a dominant source of energy, now only accounts for 3% of the UK's power generation. This dramatic reduction is part of the country's efforts to reduce carbon emissions and transition to cleaner energy sources. Electricity consumption. The USA consumes 3,911 terawatt-hours, whereas the UK consumes 309 terawatt-hours. Peak demand. In the USA, the peak demand reaches 807 gigawatts. Meanwhile, in the UK, the peak demand is significantly lower at 59 gigawatts. Grid structure. The USA has a decentralized grid structure, which means that the country is divided into multiple regional grids. Each of these regional grids is managed by different operators who are responsible for ensuring the stability and reliability of the electrical supply within their specific areas. This decentralized approach allows for a more flexible and resilient system, as it can adapt to regional demands and conditions more effectively. However, it also requires significant coordination and communication between the various operators to maintain overall grid stability. On the other hand, the UK operates a centralized grid system. In this model, the National Grid plc serves as the primary transmission system operator, overseeing the entire country's electrical grid. This centralized approach allows for streamlined management and uniform standards across the nation. It can be more efficient in terms of resource allocation and long-term planning. However, it also means that any issues or failures within the central system can have widespread impacts, affecting the entire country. Renewable energy targets. In the USA, the targets vary by state, but there's a general aim for 20% of electricity to come from renewables by 2030. This means that states are working on various projects to increase their renewable energy capacity, including solar farms, wind farms, and other green energy initiatives. Some states, like California and New York, are even more ambitious, aiming for 50% or more by the same year. These efforts are part of a broader strategy to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and combat climate change. Meanwhile, the UK aims for 30% of electricity from renewables by 2030 and is also targeting net zero carbon emissions by 2050. The UK government has implemented various policies and incentives to encourage the adoption of renewable energy sources. This includes subsidies for solar panels, grants for wind turbine installations, and investments in research and development for new technologies. The goal is to create a sustainable and resilient energy system that can meet the needs of future generations while minimizing environmental impact. These ambitious targets reflect a growing global consensus on the importance of transitioning to renewable energy. Countries around the world are recognizing the need to reduce reliance on fossil fuels and invest in cleaner, more sustainable energy sources. By setting these targets, the USA and the UK are leading the way in the fight against climate change and setting an example for other nations to follow. Nuclear power. The USA has 93 operational reactors, with 2 more under construction. On the other hand, the UK has 15 operational reactors, with 2 under construction as well. Energy storage. The USA boasts 24 gigawatts of installed energy storage capacity. In contrast, the UK has 4 gigawatts of installed energy storage capacity. This comparison highlights the differences in the power sectors of the USA and the UK, including installed capacity, power generation mix, electricity consumption, peak demand, grid structure, renewable energy targets, nuclear power, and energy storage.